Good morning and welcome to the Kim B. Davis Show. We are live this morning with Mr. Eric Harp. He is our resident health and wellness expert. He is a certified professional trainer and he holds a master's degree in physical education. And of course, this morning we're going to talk about recovering from an illness, but it is election day here in Metro Detroit. So we can't go into our health talk until we talk about some of the trending topics that are going on. So good morning, Mr. Harp. How are you?
I am just fine, Mrs. Davis, and good morning to you.
Good morning. All right. So it is election day. So, today is an important day. It is primary day. It is a day to exercise your right to vote. Have you done that yet? Or are you planning to do that?
I am planning to do that and will proceed as soon as we are done here.
All right. Excellent. So I want to ask you a quick question because, we talk about this quite a bit, and this sort of hit the internet by storm last week. Donald Trump came out and said we should delay the election. What are your thoughts?
Well, it's ironic that the Chinese president delayed the election for 1 year, right in the midst of the sale of TikTok, the banning of TikTok. It's a lot of crazy things going on, especially with China. And President Trump wants to follow suit. He doesn't have that kind of power. He needs to have Congress's approval. He needs to have all kind of approval, and he just doesn't have that power. But he wants to do it, and that's telling in itself. He doesn't want to let go. He doesn't want to let go of his post of presidency, and I'm sure there's a lot more things that he would like to get done. Wink, wink. Before he leaves office. He even mentioned a few weeks ago on national news that he'll have to see if the election results are up to his standards before he would even consider leaving office. And as we speak, he is continually trying to undermine the post office and their ability to handle mail-in ballots. And it's a crazy situation.
It is a crazy time.
In the midst of not acknowledging Congressman John Lewis's passing, in the midst of not accepting responsibility for 150,000 plus deaths due to this COVID-19. So there's a lot of dog whistles, as they say. Some are low, some are loud. But I think we need to be careful. This election process, we need to do it. We all, above 18, black, white, no matter what your skin color is, if you have that right and ability to vote here in this United States, we need to take advantage of it.
Absolutely.
So go out and vote.
Absolutely, you do. So I want to switch gears because I saw a video that you posted this weekend, and it was quite disturbing. There was a young man who was standing outside of his car with his arms raised above his head in a submissive stance. And there was a young lady that was in the car, and she looked like she was filming it. And you see police officers approaching him with guns drawn, and one came behind him and literally, it looked like he did a running kick into his back. We laugh at it because obviously a police officer was completely out of shape because he couldn't knock him down. He just kicked him, and the guy who he kicked turned around and looked at him like, man, why you kick me? But at the same time, I thought, but he's in a submissive stance. Why are you doing that?
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, Ms. Davis. As the scene started, yes, he had his hands above his head, and he got tased. He got tased first, and at the very beginning of it, you could see him shake a little bit. And as he shook, the other officer tried to do a running kick. Now the kick failed. Well, it kicked him, but it didn't look very graceful, and that's what the little giggle was about. However, it's a very sad situation. There's nothing funny about it.
Mhm.
The young woman in the vehicle was filming it and just watched her man get kicked.
Mhm.
And as they're struggling to body slam him, the second officer, the partner, tries to come and take her phone and get her out of the car.
Mhm.
Now, that's all we see in the video. What happened? What happened? Why the stop? Okay, now that you have the stop, the man is out of the car and the hands above his head. There was no need for anything other than to finish the process, if
Mhm.
that's what was going to happen. But the narrative is that Black people are abused by the police. That's the narrative. And within the short span of time, just last night, Eastern Standard Time, pinning a family down on the ground, a mother and her children, African,
Wow.
of course. Um, and come to find out, it was all a mistake. They thought their van was stolen. The family produced the paperwork. However, the police still had them on gunpoint on the ground.
And what city was this in?
Aurora, Colorado.
Wow. Wow.
Been to that city. It's right outside of Denver. Um, it's uh, it's a bad situation.
Mm.
But again, the narrative is that the people behind the badge take that authoritarianism and abuse people of color. And many videos are coming out from it. So this George Floyd situation, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, just to name a few, um, just a lot of brutality, what they call everyday practice, is coming to light. There's more and more videos, and I don't know what it'll take for the rest of the watching nation to wake up and realize basketball players, and in fact, all athletes are kneeling in unison,
Mhm.
which is a great thing because it shows unity. So, listen, I don't want to talk too much about all of that without any further questions, but it's a horrible situation, Mr. Davis.
It is a horrible situation, and I know we have to move on, but you said there were children that were in that vehicle. So there were children that were pinned down. I mean, it's bad
Further
when it's
thinking.
right. It's bad when it's adults, especially when you haven't done something wrong. But then it's even worse when you have children because you traumatize them. You make them afraid of the police. We've had this conversation before. I have two sons. You have a son. What do you tell your son? Two sons. I'm sorry. Two
That's
sons.
okay.
Yes. What do you tell your sons about dealings with the police? How to
Always
survive
tell,
it?
well, stand on the truth. Stand on the truth. Um, I don't want them to fear the police,
Mhm,
but respect the police.
mhm,
Now, respect the job that they have to do. Respect the situation that precipitated them coming. However, stand on the truth. The truth will set you free. And I mean, it is a cliche. It sounds cliche. However, it's all we have is the truth. And stand on the truth. The truth will eventually come to light. Um, and that's all we can go by. And respect the police. Don't fear them, but respect them. And that's what we deal with the police, but more it's dealing with self.
mhm,
Carry yourself with self-respect. Carry yourself with self-discipline.
mhm,
Uh, and in that way, it should not be a problem.
mhm, mhm.
And that's and God first. God first.
Always, always.
Always, always trusting God. I mentioned it last in my little list here, but God first.
Yes.
Um, and trusting God, and we let the chips fall where they may.
Absolutely. I think that is a great end to this part of the segment. Stand on truth, exercise your right to vote,
Oh,
and
yes.
keep God first in everything, and we will be all right. All right, so we have to switch gears because you are our resident health and wellness expert. So
Okay.
we have a lot of people, who are struggling right now. COVID-19 is still running rampant. There is no vaccine. Lots of people are having issues. There are people who've had COVID-19 and have survived. And what's scary to me is I hear that they have all kinds of side effects. Aches and pains, breathing issues, lung capacity, all different types of things. But in addition to that, we still have people dealing with stroke, heart attacks, diabetes, different things like that, even cancer. And they are surviving in this I can't say post COVID, but current COVID-19 time. And a lot of people are still struggling. How do I get up and move? What are some things that I should do if I've been cleared by my doctor? Say I've had a stroke or a heart attack, and my doctor says, okay, you need to get some exercise in. What are some things that I should do to at least attempt to initially start?
Okay. I mean, very good questions. As far as this COVID-19 situation, we are quickly entering flu season,
Mhm.
and symptoms of the flu, symptoms of COVID-19, scarily similar.
Mhm.
So um, that in itself is going to be a very difficult time for doctors, medical professionals, as well as patients. For those that are recovering from major surgeries or major illnesses, first, as you said, consult with your doctor. Um, there is no one size fits all. However, after surgery, we don't want to do anything for about 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So for a month, close to 2 months, we don't want to do any type of exercise as we are letting our bodies heal. Um, if there is any movement that the doctor recommends, of course, go with the doctor. Shouldn't be anything more than walking. Um, just walking in order to, yes, work mobility, the lungs, and what others, what else, other situations that the doctors may have you walk for. However, 4 to 6 weeks is usually the general rule for no exercise. After that, we start with light exercises like walking, um, arm movements, reaching above your head, stretching. But those are just light movements. As we heal and as our um, physical limitations start to reveal themselves, then working with a doctor. Sometimes a doctor may recommend a physical therapist. Now, physical therapists, very, very much in demand. And then you get into physical trainers like myself, personal trainers, and those who do a little bit more of the rigorous exercises and movements and using weights and resistance bands and other materials like that. We can get there. However, it will take a little time. And there's no one size fits all, but the general rule is 4 to 6 weeks after major surgery.
Okay. So, what if you are like me? You are an avid walker and you are looking to add strength training to your workout. Would you recommend adding weights as you walk, like ankle weights or wrist weights or anything like that? Or what would you suggest to people if you are not ready to go back to the gym and are not ready to be around? Because there are people who just will not, for whatever reason, they're like, I am quarantined. This is a disease that is still running around. And I know that you do outside classes, and there are other people I see who do outside classes, but there are some people who say, look, this is the demarcation line at my house. You cannot cross it. We are in our bubble and we are safe. What would you recommend to people who are trying to do something at home?
Well, at home is a great thing. Sometimes there's equipment that you can purchase, small hand weights, resistance bands, and resistance bands have multiple uses. So those are good things. But then there's things around the house where you don't have to use weights. Fill up a water jug and grab it by the handle and do some curls.
Mhm.
Um, Bend over and pick it up. Bend over, pick it up. Um, Take a bottle of bleach, laundry detergent. Those have handles and a little bit of weight to them. So those are some things that you can use around the house. Water bottles and some detergent bottles, you can also work the weights by filling it up more or less with liquid. So you can adjust the weights. And those are just some of the things you can do at home. You can take a broomstick or a mop stick or and reach above your head and put it behind your neck and twist so that you can work around the waist. These are just some of the things that we already have at home. We don't have to um, put any monetary expenditures on other equipment. If you are able to, there's plenty of things that you can do. As far as walking, walking is a great thing, especially for peace of mind, getting outside, enjoying nature and the fresh air. And you don't have to travel far in order to walk. Um, but ankle weights, of course, they're out there. I don't recommend them for walking just because of the way that it puts stress on some of your joints. And that's a topic for another time, but it can put stress on your joints. Wrist weights are better for while you're walking because now you can incorporate your arm movements, your
Mm.
shoulders, your biceps, your triceps, uh, forearms and wrists, and you can twist as you go. And there are many options. Resistance bands. If you're able to get a long resistance band or put it around your back and your hands, and now you can do movements like this as you're walking. Okay. Um, for some of us, if you're maintained a confined space, you can put the resistance bands around your ankles or knees or thighs, and as you walk, exaggerate your stride, exaggerate your gait, so that you can utilize the resistance bands and work the glutes, the hamstrings. You can work many parts of your legs, your calves. There's lots of muscle areas that you can get and don't have to spend a lot of money.
Excellent advice. Okay, so my next question is for mothers, especially moms that have little people. So my people are still small, but they're not quite as small. So they'll sometimes do yoga with me when they're not goofing off, and I can get them to take it seriously.
That's a
But
great thing.
it is a good thing. But when you have moms that have little people, like they're 2 and 3, and they're just into everything and they're running around, because I know I have this conversation. What would you advise them? Because you just talked about having a broomstick or a mop stick. I would never have thought about that, would never have thought about lifting laundry. What else can they do to incorporate fitness into their routines, especially because the entire family is at home?
Well, uh, it's always a challenge. Motherhood, fatherhood, parenthood is always a challenge with two and under. However, turn it into fun. It's moving. It's activity. If you were to do push-ups, and every time you get close to your baby, kiss the baby as you come up. Come down, kiss your baby. Come down. I did it when my child was an infant. Just ways to turn working out into fun. Um, our bonding moments, and it's always good to start early. Uh, Energy. A 2-year-old has nothing but energy, and once
Yes.
those feet get under them, they're running around everywhere. Well, let's turn it into a little fun. I can get my jogging in. I can get my running in, and we can go back and forth. We can go in the backyard. If we're in the house during bad weather, perhaps we can do a couple laps through the kitchen and the living room, back through the dining room, back through the kitchen and the living room. If you're able to do a little circle like that, turn it into a little fun and put fitness as a priority and utilize the energy of those babies. But I mean, again, I know there's a lot there's a lot of fun things that we can do. We can turn it into a crunch. Hold your baby, and every time you come up, if your baby is right around your knees, every time you come up, give your child a high five. And when you go back down and come up, we high five again. Make it fun.
Okay.
Make it fun, and you can get your exercise in and get in shape at the same time.
Great. So this is going perfect because we're talking about working out at home after illness, talking about working out as moms and dads. So you and I, when we were kids, we knew that when we were outside, that your friends were outside because you saw their bikes. You knew that you could walk up and down the street. Kids were out playing. There's a difference with this generation. They are just not out. You know, I walk and I see
Video
kids,
games,
right? Everything is video games. And
headphones, video
yes.
games.
And it was funny because I was walking yesterday and I saw this little girl riding her bike, but she had her phone in one hand and she was struggling to ride her bike and earbuds in the other. And I thought, this is really sad because you're not enjoying riding your bike. You know, I know when I was a kid, I loved to ride my bike. If my parents told me I can go outside and ride my bike, that's what I did. And I know that you did the same thing. We've talked about it. What are some things that we can do to get kids who are anti outside? Because I hear this from parents. They're like, you know, when we were kids, they would put us out at 8 a.m. and you didn't come back in until lunchtime. And then you didn't come back in until dinner. And then you were outside until the street lights came on. And then you went to bed. So, you know, lots of people are frustrated. So let's talk about some ways that we can get kids active that way.
Well, if you notice, you know, this is a little bit before all of that technology. So going out and riding a bike was get me out of the house.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in the same boat. I wish I had an answer for all of that because my kids, headphones, microphones on the headphones, plugged into the internet, and conversation all day.
Yes.
I hear is talking. I'm like, who are you talking to?
Exactly.
He's talking to like 12 people. And
Mhm.
sometimes it gets into a little, no, turn around. Like, wow. But it's on the phone.
Mhm.
I had a situation as recently as last night at the dinner table. Take your headphones off. Turn the phone off while we're eating dinner. Brings the phone and the headphone.
Mhm.
And takes 2 hours to eat a meal because watching something and interacting on the phone with the headphones on.
Mhm.
And, you know, leads into another problem when you got to take those headphones off. I am dad. However, I wish I did have an answer for this generation. Virtual reality, especially on the working out. If I've seen it, I've worked with a few where we put the goggles on and now you have to jog, you have to move and turn, walk on this treadmill. Um, it's a very interactive game and it causes people to move.
Okay.
One last thing is prior to the COVID-19, I would take my kids laser tag. Uh, Laser tag, you have to put on a little contraption, um, night vision goggles, and walk, and you have to run around and duck and crouch and climb, and it's fun. In fact, I'll put you onto it as soon as then we can share it as soon as I have all that information together. But it's something that I would do, and it was active, especially for me. Had to get down and crouch and stay low and bump my head in the dark. It's fun.
Okay.
But it's a lot of exercise. And so if there's anyone who I can get out there and do this when COVID-19 is done, let's do it.
All right. So what I hear you saying is we got to be creative. We got to think about exercise where we are, listen to what our doctors say. Think about what our limitations in terms of moving, if we have any, and then just really being creative in terms of getting out as a family. So laser tag or paintball, or like I do golf with the boys. I'll take them to the club, and we'll just hit the ball and see who can hit it the farthest.
That's right. That's a good
but
one.
but I mean, it's something to do. Sometimes I'll drag the boys with me walking, and they'll go, "Oh, mommy, this is just way too far. Like, who wants to walk this far?" And I'm like, "If you all are supposed to be athletes, that's not going to work because y'all don't want to walk." And they're just like, "Well, we don't want to walk right now. That's what it is." And I'm like, But you have to stay on your kids, just like you have to stay on yourself to motivate yourself. You have to help your kids to stay motivated as
It's
well.
an ongoing thing. It is a commitment. It's an ongoing commitment. It's not always easy. However, our physical health is tied into our mental health,
Mhm.
and um, some of the endorphins that are released. I mean, you'll just feel really good, um, and leads into something else. So even though my kids complain when we do something, and it's all part of the experience, and each of us gets a little something out of it. So you know, I love it because they're tired and go to sleep as soon as they come home.
I know that's always the greatest blessing. They are
however,
rested.
however, unprecedented times, we have to be creative. I wish there was a one size fits all, but it's not. Um, you have boys, you have girls, you have teenagers, you have toddlers. Um, it's an ongoing commitment. And I just hope that we start with just the first step. Get up, get up, get up out of the chair and take that first step. And then good things will happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And as you said, physical health is good for your mental health as well.
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
and you talked about making sure that your relationship with God is first and
First,
and is strong and is good. And so, like you said, in unprecedented times, we have to rely on God to help sustain us.
no doubt.
So, so, Mr. Harp, it is always a pleasure to have you on the show. We always learn so much, but tell us how we can reach you.
Eric Harp 9 at gmail.com. Eric Harp on Facebook, Twitter. There are many Eric Harps, but find me. And I'm going. I am working with. I'm working with another partner, and we have a few things in the works, and we're trying to um, put some exercise videos uh, for prenatal care, for uh, after childbirth. We're working on some exercise videos for physically challenged. And so as we put some of these things together, we'll have more information on where to find it. So please stay tuned. Mrs. Davis, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. And I can't wait till we do it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Hart, for being on and for sharing tips. I encourage everyone to go find him on Facebook, Twitter, and you said Instagram too, right?
I'm on all of them.
Okay.
I might even have a TikTok.
Uh, so wherever you are on social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, even TikTok, you can find Mr. Harp. And what's the name of your gym? Because we can find you there as well.
Right now, I am working out of the Forum Fitness Center in Westland, Michigan. I teach a class called DSCO, DSKO, do some kind of fitness, and working with a few clients, and we have a swimming pool, sauna, steam room. We have the works, indoor track with all the weights and other bells and whistles. So Forum Fitness Center in Westland, Michigan. There's a plug for them. And Mrs. Davis, thank you again so much for allowing me to be here. I hope we learned something. There's always something to learn, and just keep God first. So God bless you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Hart, for being on. You have just watched another episode of the Kim B. Davis Show. I hope that you will join us on our next episode. Hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Remember to exercise your right to vote. And Mr. Hart is showing off his mustache. And so, gentlemen, I know we're in COVID and I know barbers and different things that can be a challenge, but work with what you have. You might actually like it. But remember to tune into the next episode of the Kim B. Davis Show. Thank you so much for joining in. And remember, be magnificent.